I did not plan to ask it. That is the honest truth. The evening before the wedding was not supposed to be a night for difficult conversations or for reaching into places that had been left carefully undisturbed. Everything was already in motion. The kind of motion that belongs to something formally decided, something arranged and confirmed and agreed upon by more people than just the two of us. Stopping that motion would have required more than a question. It would have required a different kind of courage than I was certain I possessed that night. And yet, somewhere in the middle of an evening that was supposed to be simple and calm and final in the settled way of things already decided, I asked it. One question, and the way she did not answer told me everything I had not been willing to look at directly until that moment. My name is Fazza, and the silence that followed that question is something I have been living inside ever since. We were alone in the way you can only be alone with someone when everything around you is about to change permanently. The quiet had a texture to it, a specific weight that came not from emptiness, but from the presence of too many things that were not being said. She was composed in the way she was always composed, when composure was what the situation seemed to require, and I was watching her in the way I had learned to watch people I cared about, looking not at what was present but at what was being held back, and something was being held back, had been held back for longer than that evening. I had felt it for weeks without allowing myself to name it directly, because naming it would have made it real, and making it real would have required me to do something I was not sure either of us was ready for. The question arrived without ceremony, without me deciding to ask it. It simply came out in the space between one silence and the next, as though it had been waiting there the whole evening for a gap wide enough to move through. I asked her if she was certain, not about the logistics, not about the arrangements or the family or the future that had been mapped out with such careful intention by people who loved us both. I asked if she was certain about us, about this specific thing we were about to become to each other, whether what she felt when she thought about the morning after tomorrow was something that belonged to her genuinely, or something she was carrying because putting it down had never felt like a real option. She did not answer immediately. I had expected that. Some questions need a moment before they can be properly received. But the moment stretched, and then stretched further, and the quality of the silence changed in a way I felt before I understood. It moved from the silence of considering into the silence of knowing something that is difficult to say. Her eyes stayed on mine the entire time. She did not look away. She did not reach for words and fail to find them. She simply stayed in the silence with a steadiness that was more honest than anything she could have said. And in that steadiness, I found my answer. Not the answer either of us had been arranged around, the real one, the one that had been present for longer than that evening, and that her not speaking was finally allowing into the room. We did not talk about it directly that night. Some truths arrive and then require time before they can be spoken around rather than simply felt. But something shifted in that silence, that the morning could not unshift, because she had been asked directly, and she had not been able to say yes. And I had asked, knowing I might receive exactly what I received, which means some part of me already knew and had been waiting for the courage to ask out loud what I had already understood quietly. The question was not really for her, it was for me, and the silence was the only answer that could have told us both the truth.